Hi, this is Nick with Enemy Plays, and this is Game Tycoon 2 from developer Sunlight Games. This is not to be confused with the series Game Dev Tycoon, which was actually a good game. Game Tycoon 2 is pretty shitty. Let's just make this short and sweet. The graphics from this game look like they're from the late 90s. It's almost 20 years past the point where that's acceptable. Get with it. It's just shitty. It didn't work in your first fucking game, and it really didn't work in this one. It's fucking awful. Second thing is, you've got non-intuitive interface for everything. Like, to do anything in the game, you have to start from a world map, and then you go to a building that does whatever function you want, and then you have to go into the room that you want to go into, and that opens up the menu for the thing that you want to do, rather than just a menu with sub-menus in it. It's got to be this convoluted fucking process of do I need more money, rather than just clicking on like a little symbol with a dollar sign on it or whatever fucking currency you want to use. I have to fucking zoom out of my house. I have to go out of my house. I have to click on the bank. I have to go to the fucking loan officer or whatever. I have to fucking chat with him and do a bunch of shit to get fucking money, rather than just click on a goddamn button. Like, this was done so much better in games 15 years ago, where I didn't have to deal with this shit. I get that we're moving into a more realistic means, and we have the way of like VR is kind of coming around as a thing that's viable and everything like that. That does not mean that every single aspect of like everyday life needs to be incorporated into a game. It doesn't work. It's shitty, and it's really fucking annoying because I don't necessarily remember where every little thing is in the game. So I'm gonna have to find, where in the building is this thing located? To even start the fucking game, I had to find my office, which took fucking forever. Like, you're an indie developer in the early 80s. Why do I have my own office? I'm my own boss. Most of those people started from their homes. So I figured my office would have been a room in my house. I clicked every fucking door and corner I could in my house. Couldn't find it. Zoomed out to the world map, checked the bank, checked the lawyer's office, checked the fucking corporate office building, and, had to buy that for $1.5 million that I don't have. And finally, it's in the corner, like, next to my house somewhere. It was a pain in the ass. Now, that might have been easier to find if I had gone through the tutorial. I couldn't go through the tutorial because there was an audio dub over it. It's all in text, and it's all clearly written out what you need to do, but there's an audio track for it. For whatever fucking reason, there's a unique audio track that sounds like German Simlish. It's not actual German. I switched the text in the game to German. I do actually know a little bit of German. And I tried to follow it, and it's fucking gibberish, but it sounds like German gibberish. And it just confuses you. Like, you go through probably 10-15 minutes of tutorial, and it's listening to someone talk as if they're in The Sims the whole fucking time. But it's somebody in The Sims talking to you, not you overhearing a conversation that somebody has in The Sims, which is acceptable. I understand that why The Sims do it, because they're not trying to convey information, they're trying to just convey that a conversation is happening. It's a modernized, cutesy, lorem ipsum kind of a thing, and it works for The Sims. It does not work for a fucking tutorial. That was the dumbest fucking decision I've ever seen in a game like that. I couldn't read it. I hear the voice of somebody who I think is trying to explain something to me, and it just takes me out of it. I completely lost track of what I was trying to read every goddamn time. So I'd get 7 fucking screens into the tutorial, figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing, and I forgot all of it. None of it made any sense, because I've got this fucking German douchebag talking over everything that's there, and nothing made any sense. So I very quickly realized the tutorial was completely useless to me. I didn't want to. I know I could have muted it. I could have taken off my headphones. I could have done all these other things and read through the tutorial. But it's such a blatant show of how little care was actually taken into how the game was developed. And, like, that was a decision. That was who the fuck knows how much time recording just to make it shitty. Like, it's sabotaging your own fucking game. And why would you do that? Like, I would like to see one person who appreciates that decision to have that put into the game, that somebody put all the effort of recording like voice dialogue that wasn't for anything. It serves no purpose whatsoever. I probably just ranted about that one aspect of this game for like 2 minutes already, and this is only like 5.5 minute video, or 5.5 minutes so far. But that's really my biggest complaint, is it was such a terrible decision to do that with the game, and I found it unforgivable. I mean, the game is on sale right now. I think it's like a launch thing because the game just came out. It's like $12.50. It's normally like $15. All I can say is don't buy this game. I mean, I was really excited to see some of it because I checked out some of the menus. I saw some of the reviews that people had done from early access and stuff like that. And I love micromanaging games. I love things like that. I loved Game Dev Tycoon. I loved Roller Coaster Tycoon, like all the Tycoon games. Fucking Lemonade Tycoon and shit like that. Just give me simple menus. And you can have 1,000 fucking menus, but make them easy to access. Make them interesting and give me useful information. This didn't do any of that. It made the whole thing a convoluted process that made me dread doing any of it. It felt probably like getting into the video game industry, but realizing you're an accountant for a video game company. So your job looks cool, that you go into like Blizzard's corporate offices every day and you get to see like the awesome Blizzard stuff that's around there. But at the end of the day, you're still surrounded by fucking spreadsheets, and it'd be no different than working for Charles Schwab. So it just kind of sucks. Like there's no redeeming quality in this game that I could find, and I could really only give myself about 20 minutes of gameplay before I had to shut it down and say, fuck it, this is a waste of time and I'm just not going to do it. So I recommend everybody else don't play the game, at least until honestly I don't think it's fixable. The level of update this would require is pretty much an overhaul to the entire game, and hopefully they make a Game Dev 3 with the ridiculous amount of money they ripped off from everybody on this one. So this is Nick from Enemy Plays, and hopefully I saved you $12 or $15.
Olsti, Judith Radley, alla Catisti, la battesimo robale, la.